Ketik hapus, ketik hapus.
Butuh es kopi nih mah. Gas kita jajan.
Lu seger gua agar.
Ya elah. Wah.
Cimory Yogurt Bites bikin perut, otak, dan mulut jadi akur.
Aku nih, apa jual sini aja ya? Si ginjal.
Hey there everyone, Atesh here, back again with another video, and developers' favorite platform to write their articles. We have written a lot of articles there, and you also might is the article, even generate a code. Good. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new file, and let's go ahead and have a little bit onto this file. So let's go ahead and write something new into appro.tsx. And instead of loading in our index.js this app, we want to load something from the app pro. All right, so that's going to be fun and exciting. I hope so. Let's go ahead and work on with that. And it will also give you a small revision of what is happening here. The first thing that we saw, which you might have already realized, is simply to bring React from React. That's all we have to do. Now, after that, we bring in some components. So we're going to go ahead and say, hey, we want to bring in some pieces from React Native. So let's go ahead and bring in from React Native. Also, we saw that we need to actually export this so that index file actually can use this. Previously, we were exporting just the app because that was all it is. But this time we'll be having a little bit more. So we're going to go ahead and say export default app pro. All right. But the problem is our app doesn't have anything known as app pro. So obviously we need to create one. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and say, hey, we will have a function called it as app pro, just like that. And this will be like this, and there we go. And we studied in the last video that although this is not producing any content, but this is the bare minimum that is required so that our app can actually function and we can actually test this out. I can just save this app pro, and I can go into my index.js file, can comment out this one that, hey, I don't need this one. I can go ahead and simply say, I want to import app pro. That will come up from /app pro. And instead of loading this app, I can load up app pro just like this. Although this will not produce any content, but if I go ahead and work on with this actually gives it. Absolutely classic. Now, just to show you that, yes, it is working, I can go ahead and simply say, hey, return. And here I can just go ahead and import some component and paste it up. So for example, I'll just bring in view, and I'll also bring in text just like that. And I can come up here and say, hey, I will need a view. And inside this view, I'll wrap it up in the text. And the text is not going to be much. It's going to simply say, hello. Save this, and there we go. We see hello. So yes, this is working. But now we want to use a tiny bit more of the React components. In the last video, I gave you an assignment to explore tiny bit more, even a single component that you can find out from the React Native. So let's go ahead and work on with a little bit more. The couple of components that I'm going to walk through at this time is going to be first and foremost the style sheet. Style sheet is a component given to us by React Native that is responsible for styling the component. For example, you want the flex box, you want the hello world to be bigger, smaller, bold. All of this can be done via the style sheet. Now, apart from this, we will also be using something known as use color scheme. Now, this is also interesting, through which you can actually use a simpler dark mode, light mode, maybe multiple modes in your color. So we will just take a look of this, a small glimpse. Later on, we might use it, but right now, just wanted to give you a glimpse of it. Notice here in this one, I'm not using any safe area view or something because we have already discussed it. Now you know the importance of it. So it's your job to actually use the safe area view in this app and write an article about it. That's all you have to do. All right. Now, first thing that we are going to do is use a little bit of TSX, that is TypeScript. Now, TypeScript is nothing too much worried about. I have already a series on this channel in case you want to master it. But throughout this series, I'll walk you through a little bit of the TypeScript so that you can understand it a little bit more. Now, in this one, what I'm saying is I showed you a simple example where this return can actually give you a problem. As of now, if I don't return anything, for example, this is totally fine. This has nothing to do. This actually works. But there should be a case where I should return a JSX element. So what I can do is I can put up a colon here and I can simply say, we will have a simple JSX dot element. So what I'm saying here is that this method should always return a JSX element. Now it's saying that, hey, you actually should be using void if you're not returning anything, or you should return a JSX element. Now, even if I return something like this and I just say hello, it says, hey, this is not a JSX element. This is where the TypeScript shines. It just provides you some features so that you write less buggy code. So we'll just hit return in this one. And now let's go ahead and return a simple view. So we're going to go ahead and say view just like this. There we go. Now this is all happy. Now what we're going to do is declare a variable or a constant. Let's go ahead and do that. We're going to call this one as is dark mode. All right. So we have is dark mode. And now we are going to use this color scheme. Through this, we can actually use a lot of color schemes. So what we're going to go ahead and use this one is simply say, I want to use a color scheme just like that. And the syntax is really simple. I'll just minimize this so that we can first focus on writing this. And all we have to use is triple equals and then simply have to mention dark. A little bit weird, I give you on that. But yeah, this is the syntax where we go and use the color scheme. Now I'll show you where you can actually define more of the color schemes, how you can tweak that later on in the series. But right now, this is more than enough to get started. This is really the beginning of the series. So we have got this one. All right. Now, not only this, we're going to go ahead and create a couple of style sheet as well. Since we have brought in the style sheet, we obviously want to use it. So we'll go up here at the end of the function and we're going to go ahead and say, hey, I want to bring in styles. This styles will come up from style sheet dot create. There we go. We have a method. In this method, we can define an object just like this. All right. So now we have this object and inside this, we can define a lot of style sheet as much as we want. For example, let me give you a brief overview that I want to have a style just like in the CSS we have. I'll simply say I want to have a style named as container. Again, notice the syntax colon, and this is also an object. So it's almost like a binding of a key value pairs. Yep, this is all you have to kind of memorize. Then we will say that, hey, I want to use a flex of